Closing time.
Open up the doors and no one knows the words.
Okay, should we launch into an intro?
We should.
Hello and welcome back to the Fic List. Erin has already started laughing at me, so...
Yep, it's gonna be a good one, guys.
Would you like to give it a try?
No.
I hate you. You were the worst.
I love you too.
You mock me for my intro skills.
I will mock you lovingly for the rest of our days. This I promise, forever and ever, amen.
Why is that kind of sweet?
Well, it's friendship, ain't it?
Friendship, just a perfect friendship.
I don't know what that is, but okay.
It's anything goes. Oh, you didn't see it.
No.
Ugh.
I'm not actually as good about classic theater as I should be.
Yeah, I know. Excuse me for believing my musical theater friend Erin would know a musical.
Hey, Alan.
Yeah.
Eat shit.
Someone doesn't like their words thrown back at them.
I don't. I hate it. I dislike it immensely. I'm not about it. So.
Woo! Good times.
Wow. Welcome back to the Fic List, friends. We're back.
We are punchy.
3 episodes deep and we've lost it.
It has to do with the whole recording, like on a screen.
Yeah.
Somehow we're just like a woo.
It absolutely does. I thought we were weirder in person, but I don't think that's true.
We're just it's the fluorescence or something.
It's the lighting. We somehow have like losing our minds because
That's
of
a
the lighting.
Twilight reference.
What?
Your eyes were black. It's the fluorescence. And then he walks away.
Why are you like this?
Oh, dear Lord. Anyway, Erin, we're not here to talk about Twilight. But what we are here to do is talk about some fan fiction.
Yeah.
What tag are we doing this week, Erin, on our new one tag format?
It's an AU tag, friends.
Hey, it's AU week.
Woohoo! Ow.
Ow.
It's an ow.
Oh my God. Why are we like this?
Oh no.
Quarantine has really done us in, guys.
This is bad. This is gonna get weird.
It's Ow week.
It's Ow week. And we are talking about spies. We're doing espionage and spies and secret agent AU. Ow.
Erin, I need you to sing the Mission Impossible theme for me because every time I try, I end up on the Powerpuff Girls theme.
Wait, now that's gonna happen to me.
Um,
Dun 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 dun.
Yeah,
dun,
there we
dun,
go.
Dun 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 dun. And then there's also do 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 do.
Because the first Doon's like it's make or break for which theme I'm gonna go.
Yeah. There's a couple of songs that start with the same thing, and you can kind of like it's 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood like situations with those songs. And yeah, that's one of them.
Truly. Oh man. So we're doing a Spy AUs. So Erin, why don't we, because we have established firmly that you have more like guidelines for what you think makes up a successful blank AU. Mm-hmm. And I'm obsessed with that word, so that's the only thing I'm going to call it now.
Ow.
So tell us, what did you look for on a Spy AU?
Oh, buddy. So I do have very firm opinions about this, as
Dear
is
Lord in
always
heaven.
the case. I feel like I will always be the person with strong feelings about AUs. So with spies and secret agents, I think I don't like talking about. I genuinely don't like talking about this very much, but I will. Like, this is an opportunity for Wump.
Oh no!
I didn't really go for it with the one that I sent you because I know
Thank
that's
God.
not your thing. But spies and secret agents, like that is a recipe for danger. And like high tension, and like if someone doesn't end up at gunpoint or kidnapped and like stuffed in the trunk of a car, or like something bad has to happen, like it has to go wrong for at least once. And like I kind of don't care what the context of the spy situation is, whether it's like we work for the US government or we work for a secret agency or we work for this or that or the other thing. That I don't really care about. So the world building actually isn't as important to me as
fascinating.
As with like a pirate AU or, you know, other AUs that we've talked about before. But it's more that like there are certain like touchstone elements like, you know, usually like a kidnapping. The reveal of a secret agent is always really fun. If one character doesn't know that the other person is a secret agent.
Oh, yeah.
That's always fun. Like the betrayal moment. That's always cool. Or like if they are opposing spies and they betray each other or something, or they think they've betrayed each other. Like that kind of like angst turn is really fun. So that kind of stuff is really great. I don't tend to go for Spy AUs that get really bogged down in the technical. So sometimes Spy AUs get really like, and then there was this case and blah blah blah, like there was all this gadgetry and blah, blah.
Yeah, like when they're building their case. Yeah,
and I actually kind of prefer Spy as an opportunity for like complex interpersonal relationship stuff. Like I think that's kind of cool because there's lying and deception and all that.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, almost like not a complete 180, but pretty close to a 180 from your Pirates AU guidelines.
Yeah.
So why don't we start with what I sent you, Erin?
Yeah.
What did I send you?
So you're an asshole.
Why?
You fucking sent me Teen Wolf again.
Listen, Erin, I like them.
No, you don't. You have half watched it because your roommate has half made you watch it.
True, but I like their pairing. I read a lot of fan fiction for them. Right. And this one doesn't have any of the things you don't like from Wolf fics. So
correct.
Shush.
Which is actually really appreciated. And this, okay, like spoiler, it's actually not that bad. I kind of enjoyed this fic.
Hey.
So the title of this fic is called Espionage Would Be Wasted on You. It's on AO3 by reptilianraven, all one word. And it's Teen Wolf, friends. Guess who it is? It's Derek Hale and Styles Stilinski.
They're back.
Who's surprised? Oh yeah, no one.
Rude.
I know. I'm both punchy and mean tonight. I don't know what
Why
this is.
are you like this?
I don't know. I ate a chocolate chip cookie for the first time in like 3 months, and that has just turned me into a jerk.
It's not sitting well.
It's not. It's a mean chocolate chip cookie. All right. The summary of this fic. Can this actually wait until after the job? Derek said with as much ferocity as he can, which apparently wasn't much because Styles' laughter rang out through his earpiece. The Mark's getting out of the elevator. You better be ready. First off, learn how to multitask, Styles told him. Second, I need 2 more minutes. Hold him back. Can't. He's already in the hallway. Learn how to multitask. Derek smiled to himself when Styles cursed. Of course, the explosion went off at exactly the right time. Derek never thought explosions could sound smug until that very moment. The one where Derek is the tech guy and Styles just likes to blow things up a lot. Together they fight crime or whatever. I also really like this author's note, which is, I just wanted a spy fic with Derek not being the fighty dude and Styles with explosives. Also, season 4 influences. IDK, I get very specific fic cravings sometimes.
And honestly, I think the very specific fic cravings is very common.
Oh, yeah.
So I really love it when someone is just like, well, there's no fic that exists for this. I guess I'll write it.
Yeah. Fine, I'll make it myself. And I really appreciate that because I 100% understand the specific fic craving feeling where you're like, ooh, there's a niche and I want it. And does it exist? I don't know. So it's like really great when you can find it, but then some people just like write it themselves. So like good on you, friend. Not dissimilar to the previous episode, I'm going to have a hard time with specifics on this one. It's fine.
What happened?
I don't know. So here's a real life thing about me. I am profoundly good at cramming, like studying by cramming, memorizing it for a set period of time, and then immediately forgetting it.
So you were ready for this on Sunday when we were scheduled to record, but because we were exhausted from sitting in front of a webcam and we decided to push it, your brain was like, oh, that was your deadline. It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. And I didn't reread it, so.
Absolutely incredible.
It's been shredded. There's a filing cabinet in my brain, and the little file got taken out and went, and it got shredded.
Insert that SpongeBob clip where like, name, where's his name?
Yeah, exactly. There's like little like office clerks running around in my brain being like, what happened in this fic? We don't remember. That is 100% how I passed the SATs.
Good to know.
How I did really good in college. So anyway, as far as I can recall, this fic starts with, let's see, it's sort of, what's interesting about this fic is that it goes back and forth in timeline. That was really interesting to me, and I really liked the way that this happened because it took a little while to catch on. That was what was going on. So there's a couple of narratives that are happening, or it's like one narrative, but it's, if you've seen Little Women, It's kind of
so like
that.
there's the main narrative that happens in the present, like currently happening, and then they flash back to things along the way that have happened.
Like Little Women. I don't understand why you scoffed at that. That was an accurate comparison.
It was. I just think it's incredible.
Yeah.
Also, can we get some Little Women fanfic up in here?
Oh my god.
I loved hang on, let me write that down so I don't forget.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We can talk about Little Women at a later date because we can't go down this path right now. But our AU episodes are always the longest ones anyways.
True.
I might not go step by step through this. Basically, what I remember happening is that originally Derek is sort of like a solo person. Like, he's a tech guy. He doesn't go out in the field anymore. You don't know why he doesn't go out in the field anymore, but he's very sort of like, I work with Malia and that's it. And then he is given an assignment to work with Styles, Lydia, and Alan Deaton is a character listed on the thing. Is that a person?
Oh, no, they're like supervisor. That's their boss.
Oh, so he ends up working with Styles and Lydia.
Yeah. So they're making they're taking these two teams and making them into one super team.
Right. So they have a job that they need to do. And basically, like, Styles is kind of a little shit, which seems to be a theme.
That is his character.
Yeah, where he just kind of like nitpicks at Derek. Not like nitpicks like micromanages, but is just like weasel, like kind of needling him all the time. Like, why don't you go out in the field anymore? You're cute. And just like being a little like...
You know, it's that thing where like you're in school and you have a crush on someone and you don't know how to express that. So you're just like bugging them. Right. You're like, hey.
And Derek is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And Styles is like, do you want that list in chronological or alphabetical order? So they end up on this like job together, and they go through some like setbacks and stuff. They have to go to this like art gallery to try to get access to some kind of computer program because they're trying to take down this thing. Yeah,
so the main narrative is them having to... So someone has leaked the names and the faces of every operative in their secret organization. And so everyone, there's like different teams like going out to after the people who did it, and there's people going out to like make sure that everyone is safe. And then their team is in charge with hacking into the cloud and taking it down from the website it's in. So they have a plan. And the fic starts out with that plan immediately going to shit.
Yeah.
Because they're being chased, and Styles is like, well, I'm going to use this bomb. And Derek being like, don't use that bomb. Don't you use that bomb. We need it later. And Styles being like, we'll go with plan B. And uses the bomb. And so their plan B now is to like a secret op into going into this art gallery, finding someone who has codes to get into the server room at this gallery place, and then hacking it that way. Like Derek hacks it remotely. And so that's the byline of their main quest currently. And then there's these peeks at some of their other missions that happen between this.
Yeah. So they realize, or they sort of go down the list of people to sneak into this art gallery, and it is put on Styles, which is kind of atypical, and it's a bold choice. Mm-hmm. And he was like, what do you mean I have to put on a suit? And they were like, well, Derek needs to hack into the mainframe, and this guy or like whatever is clearly...
yeah, he has to be a date for Lydia, who is the one who always like infiltrates, and she's like, well, I can't go in without a date because it's like it's one of those events.
Yeah, so they need somebody to put on a suit and go in, so he goes in, and then they fuck nuggets. It's like, it is very much that moment in Dreams where you are taking a test you didn't take the class for.
Or you're like standing on stage for a play you never rehearsed.
Yeah, and you're just like, okay, it's gonna come to me at some point. I guess I'm just gonna do a song and dance until they're ready for me.
Incredible.
I'm
so
sorry.
You're fine. It's incredible. I love this. I don't often get to see you fall apart.
I know. I'm usually a little bit more put together than this, but my brain is mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes. Should I make instant mashed potatoes and shove it on my pizza?
No.
TBD.
No, you should not do that.
Quarantine makes a fool of us all.
I mean, do what you want. I don't care.
There's no rules anymore.
Yeah.
So they have designated a mark in this event who they know has the codes in his pocket. Like he has the information on like a disk or a USB, a thingamajig, what have you. And so Lydia's like objective is to go in with Styles and play him off as like her brother or something, and she's like trying to seduce this man. So the man comes over, and very immediately it's clear that he is interested in Styles and not Lydia, to which Styles is like, what do I do?
What do I do?
Poor little baby Styles. And so Derek starts talking to him and is like, hey, just pretend you're talking to me. And so they have like a small conversation through the earpiece that Styles is wearing. And that like helps Styles loosen up, and he gets an invitation to go tour a private wing or something. Once in this private wing, he incapacitates the guy, takes the codes. They pass it off to Malia, who is already there. She's posing as one of the caterers, and she's taking out all the security cameras and shit. So she's taking the codes, and as they're doing the handoff, you hear a gunshot, and Styles has been shot in the arm, and it's this moment of like, and Styles is like, it's okay. It just hurts. So yeah, they're able to hack in like to the mainframe. They delete the things in like 30 seconds, and then they get Styles out of there, and it's a happy ending. And like while Styles is shot, like Derek tells him, hey, I love you, don't fall asleep or like keep consciousness. And it's like this really cute moment. Throughout the missions that you see, you have their first mission together, which is where Styles is like wheedling him like, hey, what happened, tell me more, etc., etc. And there are a few moments that kind of stand out. One of them being Derek is kidnapped by, I believe, I don't remember her name. It's that one that's always his fucking, she murdered his family, and I never remember her name. Is it Kate?
Caitlin? My Caitlin?
No, it's not Caitlin.
My Caitlin murdered someone's family?
No.
Caitlin, no.
What is it? It is Kate Argent. God, I was right. So we find out that during one of these side missions, Derek is kidnapped by Kate Argent. In canon, Kate Argent kills his family, like his sister and his mother. And so in the setting of this story, she has killed his family and is now coming back for him. Luckily, they like find her and stop her, but it was like really close, and that was a moment where Styles is like afraid of losing him, and it elevates their whole relationship by another notch.
And they're really flirty, like in a weird, like Styles is very sort of just like goofball flirty, and Derek doesn't take it seriously. And the girls are very much like, okay, so when are you gonna bang it out? Like, when is this gonna happen? Yeah,
and that's really the end of the fic, is they're successful in taking down this list. And they've revealed their love for each other. And now we assume they will bang once they get Styles' shoulder looked at.
Yes, when he is not actively bleeding.
Correct.
Which is the ideal scenario for that.
Yeah. I really liked this fic particularly because of the reasons that you had already mentioned, which were like, I had trouble finding fics that were not A, super long, and B, I find that a lot of Spy AUs get lost in the mechanics of building their missions and like, well, you see, because there was a big conspiracy with this character, and like it just gets so convoluting. You're like, I understand nothing of what's going on. When are they going to start fighting bad guys? Where's the high tech? Where's the missions? So the fact that this was like a byline of a mission currently happening and then a bunch of little like missions along the way, I was like, oh, this hits the spot. Like I really wanted a cookie, and here it is.
Yes. I agree with that assessment. It was a good fic. Like, I enjoyed it when I was reading it. It hasn't stuck in my brain particularly well, but that doesn't mean anything because there's 3,000 fanfics in my book list, my bookmark list, and most of them haven't stuck in my brain. So I also like that it did not get too in the weeds in terms of like trying to build some complicated plot, but it also did have that really cool narrative structure where it was going back and forth. So you did have to give it a little bit of like pause and thinking. Like I thought that was, it was complex, but it was still well done. Like I figured it out and then I could follow it back and forth.
Yeah.
Sometimes going back and forth between things doesn't read and you're just confused. And that didn't happen to me, which was really cool. Do I wish they like banged it out at the end? Yes.
He was bleeding, Erin.
Right. Like, would it have been appropriate? No. But, like, I'm here for, it's fanfic.
Yeah, I get it.
That's what it is. If I'm going to read a Teen Wolf fanfiction, I may as well get something out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was really good. I think I would rate this like a 3.4.
Okay.
Yeah. Like,
I'll take it.
It was good. Let's go with 3.5 because like it was good and it rounds up to a 4, but it's like not quite there. And it was fun. I'm exhausted, so I'm not giving it its due specificity here, but it was a good time, particularly if you like if you like Spy AUs, very similarly to previous episodes, this is a good starter Spy AU.
Yeah. This is good because it has a lot of canon elements, but also explains them really well to you. So this is a really good intro because then you have that canon information that applies to other fics.
Well, it's also like a very accessible Spy AU.
Yeah.
Like sometimes Spy AUs, they're so nuanced in some ways that you're like, I don't feel like investing in this like world. Like I don't want to do that. And this just kind of hits the stuff that I want it to hit without being too much. Like it's not taking itself too seriously.
It accomplished what it set out to do.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Solid 3.5.
Nice. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Woohoo.
Finally. Jeez.
I know. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm totally joshing with you.
I know, because you love me and you're very kind. Let us talk about the fan fiction I sent you.
Okay.
I'm so interested to see how you feel about this.
I'm actually so excited to talk about this.
Okay, good.
Okay, so first let me go ahead and introduce the fic. The fic is named Trust Me, written by ShenanigansEnsue, one word. It is on Archive of Our Own. It is a Star Wars new trilogy fic with the pairing Poe Dameron and Reader.
Yeah.
Yes, listeners, we have our first second POV fic. And honestly, Erin, I was so shocked that you sent me this because I was positive in my head that I would be the first one to send one of these.
Yeah, no, I love them. I think they're great.
That is so interesting. I'm all flustered. I was so excited about this. I was like, it's happening.
Yeah, it is.
Insert that gif of The Office of like, it's happening.
It's happening.
Everyone.
It's happening.
So the summary reads, based on sentence prop. No, it's my fault for thinking you might care. Oof.
Yike.
Imagine being General Organa's protege and being asked to represent her in the Senate on behalf of the Resistance. It's not a great summary. It doesn't really give you a feel for what you're about to read. That does happen, but it's a very small part. Oh my god, this is so hard now. I don't know. Okay, Erin, you're in this fic because I'm gonna call her you.
Yeah.
So the beginning of this is you're in the Resistance like planet, like their hideout, and you're talking to your friend Jessica about the cute boy you have a crush on named Poe, and how you've never been able to like really look him in the eye or talk to him because you're so nervous. And
because
he's so
it's
cool.
Poe Dameron.
It's Poe Dameron.
I love Poe
And
Dameron.
it's true. Yeah, so you report directly to General Organa and to Leia. Truly, I think that she would allow me to call her Leia.
Space Mom.
I'm just kidding.
Carrie Fisher, Space Mom.
Space Mom. But yeah, you keep to yourself a lot, and so no one really knows like who you are. I mean, Jessica does, and you have a few friends, but your crush for Poe Dameron has left you mute around him.
Yeah.
So it starts off with you're talking to your friend Jessica, and then Leia asks you for you in her office to talk to you about something. Then you go, and as you're leaving, you bump into Poe Dameron, and he's like, "Oh, my bad." And it's this little moment where you kind of get to like talk, and it's very like small talkish moments. I'm gonna call her she. It's getting exhausting calling her you because I just picture you in
fine.
space buns.
I did space buns when I went to Disney World. So
Maybe that's why I can picture it so clearly.
I'm just like, hey, what's up?
Yeah. So you're talking to she's talking to Leia. This is so confusing to talk about. Talking to Leia, and Leia, tells her, so here's the thing. The First Order has not made any moves. No one in the Senate believes us. Like, no one believes that the First Order is a threat, or more like no one wants to really, no one wants to face them. Like, no one wants to rock the boat, per se. So Leia wants protagonist to represent her in the Senate and try to talk up more support for the Resistance and try to get more information about the First Order and see if there's anything that the Resistance can use in order to gain support from the Senate. And this is like a big assignment for protagonist who has never mostly done paperwork and has been Leia's right hand, but not like gone out into the field. And she's like, I don't know if I can do this. And Leia's like, hey, yes, you can. And so you're leaving tomorrow. And so protagonist goes and tries to find Jessica in the hangars to see if she's still working on her X-Wing or something. Goes to the hangars, and it's late at night. And Jessica is not there, but who is there working on his X-Wing? But Poe Dameron.
Poe Dameron.
And so protagonist asks if he needs any help because it looks like he's struggling. He's on the struggle bus, and Poe Dameron's like, sure, and she helps him. And then They're talking and whatnot. They're having a good like conversation where she's talking about like, oh, I have to leave, and he's like, oh, okay, why? And she tells him, and then she, out of nowhere, truly just like kisses him, and he's like, excuse me, and he's like, I'm sorry, I don't. And he doesn't even finish the sentence. She gets all hissy and she gets all hurt, and she says, no, it's my fault for thinking you might care.
Which is like, okay.
I know, like, all right, let's calm down. This man didn't know your name until earlier this afternoon, but sure. And he gets a little hurt by it. Oh, and I'm sorry, I got the order mixed up. So she kisses him first.
Dum 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 dum.
I hate you.
You love me. Admit it.
I do. Oh man. So I got the order mixed up actually. So she kisses him first, gets shot down, and then tells him it doesn't matter anyway. I'm leaving tomorrow.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, why? And then protagonist tells him, and he's like, oh, you're going by yourself? And protagonist is like, what does that mean? And he's like, oh, well, I just
he's kind of like hemming and hawing.
Yeah. And she's like, you don't think I can do it? And he's like, well, if you had the general with you, sure, but you're going out there on your own. And so protagonist gets very angry, and she's like, I can handle myself. And he says things akin to, you're a sweet kid, but it's the kind of thing people take advantage of. And she snaps and says, if that's what you think of me, I'm some well-intentioned little girl who's in over her head. You don't know a thing about me. And so she like leaves him there. And this is a moment for Poe to be like, oh, I never noticed her before.
Yeah, really. But he's also like, oh, I fucked up.
I fucked up so much. But she kind of pretty walking away.
Yeah.
I hate to see you go, but I love to watch you walk away.
It's very much that moment. And she's just like, fuck you, Poe Dameron.
Fuck you, bitch.
Legit mad.
So protagonist spends 6 months out in the Senate, comes back. And Poe was like, hello, hi, how are you? Like very much like trying to get in her good graces. But protagonist doesn't care. She's like, listen, I'm going to be civil, but that's all you get out of me. Like no furtive glances or anything. And so Leia called her back, if I remember correctly. And then she calls Dameron in, and they have a meeting where they're talking about how Leia has heard rumors about the First Order having plans to a new Death Star. Because, of course, the amount of Death Stars in the fucking Star Wars canon is ridiculous. So why not add another one?
You get a Death Star, and you get a Death Star.
Yeah, truly. So, similarly to the other story, they have found a mark of a man who they think has codes with these plans. And if they can get those codes, then they can show it to the Senate and be like, oh, you think the First Order is not planning to obliterate all of us? How about some Death Star blueprints for you? So she's sending protagonist and Poe Dameron out to this party to make a splash and to get these codes somehow. So they're on the ship to the planet with the Senate, and Poe apologizes and he's like, I'm sorry for underestimating you. I just didn't talk to you that much. And protagonist is like, hey, no hard feelings. And Poe's like, well, how can I make it up to you? And protagonist is like, all right, well, you take my lead on this, trust me. And Poe's like, all right, fine. And that's the end of chapter 2.
Woohoo. There's 6 chapters.
We're almost there, friends.
We're almost halfway there.
So the next part of it, so we are now in protagonist's apartment in New Republic City, I think it's called.
Sure.
New Republic something.
I don't remember.
It's essentially the new Coruscant. New Republic City. God, I'm right. God, I'm good.
You're so good.
I'm the goodest egg.
God, you are killing it today, Alan. Like,
that is so kind of you.
In terms of awards, you get MVP.
For today.
And I get participant.
You get P.
I was here. I showed up.
So they get to New Republic City and to protagonist's apartment, and we're having a lot of moments here where we're seeing Poe being like lingering glances at protagonist and like, and it's very clear that Poe is interested, at least to the reader, not to protagonist, but to reader. And so protagonist is trying to find a way to get invited to this party that they need to go to. She has to get 2 invitations for her and for Poe. And the plan is, the best way I can describe it is, imagine like, I don't know, the most liberal person going to an old conservatives party in the South. That's essentially what they want to do with Poe. He's a resistance. He is very infamous in the resistance, and he's like a big personality.
Yeah.
So they're hoping that Poe is going to attract all this bad energy or bad attention from all these like conservative senators, and that'll create enough of a diversion for protagonist to go upstairs and swipe those codes, like hack into the home office and take the codes. So then she needs to secure two invitations. She gets one invitation from Senator Kane, Kane, for her, who has been, it's clear now, been asking protagonist out for many, many times. And protagonist is like, don't tell him no yet, but let's look for literally anyone else.
Yeah.
Literally a fish. I don't care. I will go with Jar Jar. Will Jar Jar be there?
What about the blob, dude?
Is Jabba there? Rip in peace, Jabba. And eventually she has a friend, Athena, who is going and has been invited, and she needs a +1. So she's like, all right, well, I guess Poe Dameron will be her +1, and I will be Senator Kane's +1. And you're like, And so protagonist has a assistant named Recon?
I don't know.
Sorry, I wish I could help.
Neither of us can help.
I wonder if this is like Clone Wars characters or something.
Maybe.
Because those are also canon.
Alan, why?
Why do you do this? I'm taking away your
The
MVP star.
bells of Notre Dame.
Oh my god, don't get me
I
started.
am getting so punchy.
We're almost done, Erin.
I started punchy, and it's only getting worse.
You are
from
only
there.
getting punchier, which is interesting because I'm sure that once we turn this off, you are going to bed.
No.
Oh.
I'm going to stay up and read more fanfiction.
All right. So night of the mission arrives, and you have that classic fanfiction moment where protagonist comes out and looks absolutely gorgeous. And Poe Dameron is like,
yeah.
But Poe Dameron has also slicked his hair back, and he's like in a tailored like jacket or whatnot uniform, and he's uncomfortable. So protagonist is like, obviously, all right, well, let me help you, and like makes it more his style. Like it's still fancy, but his style. And I find that's a really interesting trope that happens every now and then with characters where you're like, oh, you don't have to change who you are. You were perfect just the way you are, but like with a little like polish up or something.
Yeah. Well, doesn't she like mess up his hair? And
yeah,
stuff?
she's like ruggedly handsome. We're going for rugged.
I mean, of course. Have you seen Oscar Isaac?
Oh,
That's
truly. Oh,
holy shit.
what a man. Oof.
Yeah.
Is it hot in here?
I have a very clear type now that I think about this.
Yeah, I see it.
Yep. We're not going to address it. Keep going.
Next time I'm going to submit some Hosier fanfic.
We should. Oh, I love Hosier. So good.
I'm going to tweet him and maybe he'll send me some.
What if Hosier writes Hosier fanfic?
I would believe it. So you know what, he would be writing those because he's such a big fan of those like memes of him being an elder being.
Yes,
that's the type of fan fiction about himself he would be writing. Fucking HP Lovecraftian shit.
Yeah, he's like, I am part of the Fae.
I am Cthulhu's son.
I am an eldritch being.
Great. So we are at the house of Admiral Davos.
Sure.
I don't know that guy.
Davos.
I know.
As in Betsy.
That's definitely what I thought of, and I was like, So I changed the pronunciation in my head.
Fuck her. We don't often talk politics, but fuck that lady.
Truly an evil human being.
I mean, the whole administration is garbage, but she 100%. In particular is like, Jesus, what the fuck? Okay, continue. We can't go down this path.
We can't go down this path. Not this late.
No.
Yeah, so we're at the party. Senator Kane is a fucking douchebag. He's a tool, which we kind of got from the way the protagonist talked about him. Then Poe comes in with Athena, and so Athena is not, she doesn't look like you and I, Erin. She's one of those beings that have like what they call it, like head tails or almost something like that.
I don't know. Is it like Jar Jar?
Kind of. She's a different breed.
Yeah, she's a different species. Yeah.
So, and she's the only one in that party who is of a different species. And then you have Poe Dameron, who, so like the splash could not be bigger at this party.
Right.
So the Admiral Davos is actually talking to protagonist, and he's like fishy. He's like, "Why are you here?" Like he can smell something's off. But then he sees Poe, and it all goes out the window. He's like, me. So when Senator Kane, douchebag tool, asks protagonist to dance, she's like, oh yeah, let's go. But first I'm going to go freshen up or whatnot. She runs upstairs because she sees that there's one security bot who's not really securing anything. Sneaks into the home office and starts hacking the mainframe. Starts taking the files that she needs into a USB. And then we cut to Poe and Admiral Davos's conversation, and he suddenly like gets a beep on his wrist or something and gets basically a notification of like, there's someone here, excuse me, and goes, And Poe's like, uh-oh. And gets out this like communicator that they have. I guess it uses like Morse code. It's like beep, 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 beep.
Beep, beep, beep. Beep, 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 beep.
It's truly. Which we cut back to protagonist who gets the message, uh-oh. She didn't realize that she had triggered an alarm on the computer or something, which sounds like a problem to me. I can't believe no one would have thought of that. But anywhomst. So now like the security, she gets out of the office just in time, but she hears the security like bots being like sent around and being ordered not to let anyone down without like inspecting them or scanning them for any like electronics. And so she goes into the ladies' room, locks it, looks up and sees the light fixture, which is a little lamp like cup. What are they called? Like a sconce. Mm-hmm. And so she climbs on the sink, puts the data stick in there, climbs back down. All while the security bots are like, excuse me, ma'am, we need you to come out now. We're about to break down this door, ma'am. And protagonist is like, I'm coming.
She's like, I had to pee.
Yeah. So she comes out, they scan her, and they're like, oh, there's something in her boobs. And she pulls out her communication device, and she's like, can I go? And they're like, okay, yeah, sorry.
That is the most realistic thing about this whole fic, by the way, is that you 100% carry your cell phone in your bra.
Oh, yeah. I've seen it. If I had a bra, I'd put it there, too.
It's convenient, and dresses don't have pockets, so
it's true and fair. This is total fucking... I don't even know the word. My words are leaving me.
Detour?
Yeah, fucking... Well, there's a word for it. Digress. It's like a digression.
Yeah.
I'm about to digress really hard. I started putting my cell phone in my back pocket years and years ago because I saw the girls did that. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, why do they do that? I know now that it's because you guys don't have room in your front pockets because jean manufacturers are evil.
Because patriarchy.
The patriarchy, correct. But I started doing it and I was like, And now that's where I keep it. Which is really interesting because my keys don't hit it and I really like it. Mm-hmm. But I have to remember to pull it out before I sit. Because otherwise,
This is true. One time I was at a Macklemore concert.
Oh, no.
That happened in college. There were very few options for concerts in my small town college area. So when Macklemore came around, that was actually kind of a big deal. So we went.
Nice.
And during the concert, I had my cell phone in my back pocket and I was with a friend of mine who was standing directly behind me and we were up against the barricade. And during one of the songs, I felt someone like reach into my back pocket. And at first I thought it was Liz. I thought it was my friend. And then I realized that they were going for my phone. So I reached back and grabbed the person's hand hard and like cracked their hand. Like a fucking peanut.
Ow.
It was one of those moments where I didn't realize what I was doing until it was done.
Yes.
And I was like, I think I just assaulted someone. And then I was like, but they were trying to steal my phone. So they had it coming.
They're trying to rob you.
Yeah. So I saved my phone. I still have that phone. It worked out totally great.
Amazing.
But yeah, ever since then, I haven't kept my phone in my back pocket.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, but that's interesting. I have this thing where like I really hate things with hands. Like I can't really crack my fingers very well.
Yeah.
And if people do that to me, it's like that was a horror story.
Yeah. I like grabbed their knuckles and just like cracked them like a fucking walnut.
Oh, good for you. They had it coming.
They did. It was probably bad, but oh well.
Good for you.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the fic.
Oh, definitely hated that. Anyway, yes. So back to the feek.
To the feek? To the owl?
To the owl feek.
This is getting weird.
Oh my god. Weirder.
Friends, we're at the end of the rope here.
Truly. So the protagonist goes back downstairs and regroups with, I was going to say Oscar Isaac, with Poe and Athena. This is what happened. This is where the data stick is. Like, what can we do? And so Poe kind of takes over because he sees the protagonist is starting to like crumble because it did not go according to plan and she is not prepared for that. And he's like, this is how I operate. So he's like, okay, you go dance with Senator Kane. I'm going to ask you to do something and you need to do it. Okay. Like we'll create a diversion and then Athena will go up to the bathroom, grab the data stick, come back and we'll skedaddle.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, break. So she goes back to Senator Kane, and Senator Kane's like, oh, where you been, girl? And protagonist is like, oh, sorry, bathroom.
Yeah.
There's a line. I don't know. So they start dancing. Oh, God. And I don't remember exactly what it said, but it's so gross. There's a moment where...
he says a really gross thing.
Yeah. He's a slime ball. Mm-hmm. Oh, gotcha. So they're dancing and they're talking, and Senator Kane is like, why are you always like so combative against me? And protagonist is like, it's called having an opinion. And Senator Kane says, oh, I know. I like, lucky for you, I happen to like women with some fight in them. And then he like leans in and whispers in protagonist's ear. It makes it all the more satisfying when they're writhing with pleasure with my name on their lips. And it's like the grossest thing.
Gross. vomit everywhere.
And literally, protagonist is 2 seconds away from just fucking castrating him on the dance floor when Poe comes up and he's like, oh, can I have this dance? And Kane is like, excuse me? And Kane is like, she's not interested. And protagonist is like, the fuck she ain't. And she's dancing with him. So now Poe and protagonist are dancing and they're whispering. And it's this moment of like, their bodies pressed together. Oh my gosh.
Jesus.
Alan once saw this business.
Your bodies pressed together. Thumb.
Erin, please, we have to finish. We're so close.
It's fine, keep going. I'm just gonna keep chuckling and then crying over here.
So Poe and protagonist are dancing and their bodies are pressed together and they're whispering, and it's like this really hushed moment where when Kane comes and he's like, protagonist does not want to, so why don't you keep your hands on like what is yours? Like, stop touching my things, basically. Mm-hmm. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. Scratch that. Poe and protagonist are dancing, pressed together, having a moment, and then Poe tells protagonist, okay, in a moment I'm gonna do something and I'm gonna need you to slap me super hard. Mm-hmm. Okay? And protagonist is like, what? And then kiss. Yeah. And of course, protagonist freezes and instead of slapping, like, puts hands on the chest and is like, fucking useless.
Yep. Useless.
Truly, protagonist has done nothing
has not contributed. But also, like, it's Oscar Isaac. Like, what are you gonna do?
Slap him. He said so. Listen, look, Oscar Isaac would be like, this would be what would happen. Oscar Isaac would be looking me in the eyes and it's like, okay, I need you to slap me.
Like,
I would have slapped him. And he's like, wait, let me finish.
And you'd be like, I'm so sorry. Continue.
Oh, sorry. You said.
You like did not wait to the end of the instructions.
Truly. Now they're kissing because protagonist is frozen and like kissing back. Then Senator comes in as like, motherfucker, don't touch my things. And unlike Kane punches Poe. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, it would have not been a punch if she had just slapped him. And so they go at it. And so they're having like a very physical altercation and fist fight. And then the Admiral DeVos, who is the owner of the home, comes with his security droids and is like, what is happening here? Mm-hmm. And says, oh, clearly you provoked him. Like, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Mm-hmm. And Athena comes back from getting the data stick and is like, okay, I'll escort them out. No worries. Mm-hmm. And so they all leave and they're successful. And you're like, yay, thank Christ.
Yeah, really.
I'm glad that everyone else was able to do a job. I'm so hard on protagonist. Listen, protagonist spent 6 months playing with the Senate and basically like coming to her own, which is great. Mm-hmm. But other than that, like, she didn't really do anything. You're just like, protagonist, what happened? Anyway.
Fine. You can have your wrong opinion. Keep going.
Oh my God. Dear Lord. They come back to protagonist's apartment. They talk to Leia and Leia's like, okay, great. Perfect. I will start circulating this. I need you guys to come back. We need you at the Resistance. So pack up and in 3 days or something, you'll come back. Mm-hmm. So during these 3 days, protagonist is like avoiding all contact with Poe because protagonist is like, oh, I still have feelings for him. But it's clear that he was just doing it for the mission. And I mean, it's clear to the reader that he was not. But protagonist is,
a dum-dum.
A dum-dum, truly.
And I can say that because the protagonist is me.
Is you.
And I'm a dum-dum.
Truly.
Hey.
Just kidding.
I am mostly here because I got a pretty face.
So the end of the fic
You did not validate me.
You're so pretty.
I dislike you immensely. Continue.
Oh my God, you're so pretty.
I hate you so much. Continue.
So the end of the fic is them on the ship back to the Resistance planet, and Poe like cornering protagonist and be like, why won't you look at me? Why won't you talk to me, please? I'm sorry for kissing you without asking. I'll never do it again, I promise. Just talk to me again. And protagonist is like, well, that's the opposite of what I want. And Poe being like, oh, that's easy to fix. And then they make out a lot. Yeah. And then they go back to the base and basically tell everyone that they are together now, and it's a happy ever after.
Woohoo!
Oh man, wow. that was a journey. I don't think that was a long summary. I think that we just went on so many tangents.
Yeah, we just took a long time to get to where we're at currently.
Yeah, truly. This was fun. I enjoyed it a great deal. I did think protagonist didn't have a ton to do as far as So here's my thing, and I don't think this is the author's fault. I don't think it's protagonist's fault. Specifically to me, I like stories where the protagonists have like some ability to them, like they are able to fight back or something, or are able to do something But oftentimes I find that it's not really easy to find those. Oftentimes I find like in fanfic, there's protagonists who like are very passive and are rescued a lot. And they're more passive participants than they are active, which I guess is fine, but it's not something that I like. Like, I personally enjoy like having the feeling of the protagonist like just kicking ass and you're like, yeah, good for protagonist. Especially when it's a second POV, when it's like you, and it's like, listen, I would have slapped Poe so fucking hard he lost his teeth.
I think something that is interesting about like reader self-insert fics is they're often wish fulfillment, right?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
They're just kind of straight up wish fulfillment in a very clear way. And I think particularly for fic that is geared towards women self-insert characters, the idea of being rescued is a wish fulfillment thing.
Yeah.
So like that might be where that's coming from and why it doesn't resonate for you so much, because I think a lot of the time women are sort of like I don't want to be rescued, that's not a thing, but like that is often the storyline that I have. And there is something appealing about, you know, like Poe Dameron coming to my rescue. Like, yeah, that's kind of fun. I hear what you're saying. I just think that part of that comes from the dynamic of existing tropes and gender dynamics in fic.
Yeah, like that's the genre.
Yeah, like that's the thing. And I love reader self-insert fics because I think they are the purest form of what fanfic is.
Yup, absolutely, 100%. I could not agree more.
Yeah, it's very much like, this is what we're here to do.
Listen, let's all stop bullshitting each other. Yes, sometimes we're here for the literature, but most of the times we want to live this. We want to be protagonists.
Right. And it's like, if you're not writing fic because you're angry about how something went in canon and you need to fix it, right?
Yeah.
What you're doing is putting yourself in the story. And this is the literal embodiment of that. And it is something that only fanfic does.
Yeah, true.
And it does it. I love when it does it unabashedly and like without apologizing. And it just is that. So to me, like the thing about, you know, well, she's kind of passive, she doesn't do a lot, like it's super wish fulfillment-y, like I don't care because I'm just here to like be swept off my feet by fucking Poe Dameron, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I know what party I signed up for, okay?
Listen, I don't think it was not like, I'm not knocking it and I'm not knocking the genre or the piece. I think that the piece is actually pretty well written, minus some grammar errors that were pretty blatant, but anyway.
Yeah, whatever.
But I think this was just my reaction to the story.
That's
like,
fair.
This is something I would have liked, but I absolutely think this was really well written. So the thing that was interesting that I mentioned during halfway through my summary is, and I've read quite a few self-insert fics, but not one that was quite like this, where we got a lot of Poe's thoughts, like, and Poe looked at you and thought this, and I was like, oh, interesting. It's like second person omniscient point of view.
Yeah.
Where you like
about that, but you're right.
You get like your interests, thoughts about you, which is I don't want to say weird, but it was new to me.
Yeah.
And I wasn't necessarily angry at it because I liked the extra context you got. But I definitely it made me pause. I was like, oh.
Well, then the question becomes, what's the point of second person point of view?
Yeah.
Because if second person point of view is fundamentally limiting the scope of the narration to literally like your self-insert, then why do you know those things?
Yeah. It does dredge up some questions, but not like huge ones. Yeah. In my opinion. Like I agree. I think that this was very much like we're along for the ride. I definitely see where this fits your, like, not necessarily a ton of world building. Like it's just like here in and out. Here's the mission we're doing. Not huge stakes either. It's just like, well, maybe not huge stakes, but it just never felt urgent to me. There was like a moment toward the end where I was like, oh God. And then before I was able to sit in that anxiety, we were done. I was like, oh.
I perhaps
okay, cool.
chose this fic not because it's a great Spy AU.
No, and like I get that. I think, this is one of those moments where I think you chose something that is really interesting to explore, like for us to talk about, and I really love that. And I don't necessarily think that it's not good as a Spy AU. Yeah. I think it works. Yeah, but it's not. Perhaps it's not like the highest stake.
Right. It wasn't the primary motivator of the narrative.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, and I really just wanted the opportunity to talk about reader self-insert fics because I think it is fascinating. And it brings me a lot of joy to know that you love them.
I love them.
Because I was really afraid that you were going to be like, this is trash.
No. Oh my gosh.
But then I was like, I know Alan better than that. He's not going to trash this.
True. I will literally almost never trash anything. That's you.
Correct. You're a nicer person than I am.
It's you and Dark Kermit. It's like Dark Kermit gif. It's you and a cape.
With a little like mole.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That being said, I would give this like a 3.3.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed it. And I would come back to this. I thought it was really well written.
I come back to this one, not like a lot, but sometimes when I'm in a mood for like of this, like sometimes I find myself, speaking of really specific fic cravings, I sometimes feel that way about reader self-insert, where I like will very much want an imagine, or because like imagines happen on like Tumblr usually, where people come out with like, imagine you are with Poe Dameron and you're like ace pilots together and like you're best friends but you're secretly in love or whatever, and they write out this whole headcanon for you and you can kind of just imagine it yourself. Like that kind of thing is really cool. Or this like reader self-insert fic where it's more fleshed out as like a narrative. Sometimes I just have a real Jones for that. Yeah. And like this is one of the ones that I come back to for that fix, just because it's a pretty well written one. I will say sometimes reader self-insert ones are not particularly well written fic.
No, and it goes, I think it comes back to that whole like it's wish fulfillment. So sometimes like narrative and characterization falls by the wayside because you're just like, no, kiss me.
It also often comes out of RP and roleplay, and sometimes that doesn't translate to a strong narrative, but it's still a valid art form and it's still interesting, and I think there's still weight there. I just think it's different. Like you're not like HMG fanfic is not writing you self-insert fic here, and that's okay. Like that's not what I'm here for. I am here to imagine kissing Oscar Isaac on the face.
Amen.
And like that's all I want. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Amen. I think that's a good note to end this on, you know? Just close your eyes and picture you kissing Poe Dameron. Yeah.
I'm into it.
Erin, what should people do now?
So, if you aren't sick of us, I don't know how you're not, but bless you people.
Really talking up our show.
I know. If you are someone who does the social medias, you should follow us on social media, because we have a Twitter, which is the one that I actually check, and then we also have a Tumblr, which I kind of check when my phone notifies me that we have a reason to check it. And then we have an Instagram that I don't check, and a Facebook that is functionally dead. So that order of things. You should also subscribe to the podcast on your subscription listening service of choice, be that Apple Podcasts or Spotify or SoundCloud if you're real weird. Whatever it is, I'm real punchy.
Whatever rocks your boat.
Whatever, as my mother would say, whatever blows your skirt up. And,
oh my gosh.
which is like so inappropriate. It's funny though. And yeah, you should keep in touch. We keep saying this, but send us suggestions of things. We've gotten some really good suggestions of tags or even like ships to explore, like some cool ideas floating around. So if you have things that you want to hear, or if you write fanfic and want to send it to us, I promise I will temper my bitchiness.
If Erin knows that the author is listening, she's kinder.
Yeah, I am a gentler. I will still give you constructive criticism, perhaps, but I will not be I will make sure I eat first and not a mean chocolate chip cookie.
And I think we're generally pretty good about being, our reviews come from a place of love and understanding. Yeah. So I don't think that it'll ever be like we're going to tear you down.
Yeah. The goal is still to like appreciate this thing and celebrate this thing and come from a place of sincerity. So, and that has never changed, and we can change the format all we want, but that's the core of this podcast. So that's who we are as people. Yeah. Like, obviously, because we just talked for, an hour about how much we love second person AU, whatever, like reader self-insert fics, which are usually really shat on types of fanfic, and it's so good. It should not be. So let's chat, like let's build community, let's talk to each other about the shit we love, even if we think it's kind of nerdy. And you should tune in again in like 2 weeks, assuming that we stick to our schedule, which I make no guarantees of.
Fingers crossed.
One can only hope. Who knows? We hope you guys are staying safe and still healthy and well. And this is going to come out in a couple months. And frankly, day by day, no one really knows what's happening with this coronavirus. So this is a recording in May, and this will come out sometime in probably July, which like no one knows what that's going to look like then. But regardless, we hope you guys are safe and well and doing everything you can to continue to be so. And we're thinking about people a lot. I mean, everybody's sort of in their own boat, but yeah, we're here. We're reading some fanfic, and we're doing our best, and we hope that you are too.
And on that note, guys, we will see you next episode.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.